So I'm sure you all know about the tariff debacle by now. The Dow plummeted another 300 points today. The president that so many people were so assured would bring prices down is currently in the middle of ensuring the opposite remains true. In the past, believe it or not, I have tried at least a little bit to hold my tongue when it comes to the voters in this country. Like the first video I made when Trump won the 2024 election. I went really hard on the Democrats in that video, and trust me, they fucking deserved it. And I didn't want to talk too much about the voters in that video because ultimately the way most voters went in the 2024 election is a symptom of a much broader issue in this country. We have a massive misinformation machine funded by billionaires convincing voters in this country to vote against their best interests and baiting them with these stupid non-issues like, oh my god, there's 20 trans athletes in this country competing in the girls' team in high schools. I get it, a lot of people in this country are drunk on propaganda, but it gets to a point where you can't hold your tongue anymore when it comes to how fucking stupid people are in this country. It's not like Trump's tariff policy was a complete mystery up until he assumed office again. When a company has to pay a higher tax on imported goods, that tax is often passed on to the consumer, and that comes in the form of higher prices for goods that require said commodities or also imported foods. Pre-orders for the Switch 2 are now delayed in this country, likely because Nintendo now has to come up with a higher price tag for the console to make up for the tariff that would likely be imposed when units shipped to this country. I think initially the Switch 2 was going to be manufactured in China, but then in anticipation of the tariffs that China was going to be hit with, they shifted manufacturing over to Vietnam, but then Vietnam got hit with a 46% tariff. And I have seen so many Trumpers on social media scramble to defend this. You don't need a new game console, you don't need a new iPhone, a new iPad. Just suck it up and take the hit for a while. Trust me, we're about to enter a golden age. Do you really think this talking point lands with your average citizen who is frustrated that prices continue to skyrocket while their wages remain stagnant? Federal minimum wage in this country is still $7. I know several states in this country have raised their minimum wage, but there are still several other states that solely abide by federal minimum wage, and that abysmal minimum wage is a testament to how out of step this country's politicians are with their citizens. And it's not even solely out of incompetence either. So many politicians in this country are in the pockets of billionaires who don't want increased wages because they want to hoard as much wealth as they can for themselves and give as little back to the workers as possible. This is the root of the problem. People aren't mad just because they can't afford the new game console. They can't afford the new iPhone. Boo-hoo. Not only are the prices of luxury products are going up, but also the prices of essential goods like groceries are shooting up as well. People's bills are going up while their paychecks remain the same and can't cover the cost of all of their expenses anymore. And while I sympathize with their plight, I also can't help but smear shit in the faces of people who genuinely thought that Donald Trump would fix this problem. After Trump was reelected, that's when you saw Google searches skyrocket asking, what is a tariff? And then that search was followed up with, can I change my vote? That's when these Trump voters realized that tariffs meant higher prices for them, and me no like that. But too late, you voted this guy back into office, and now you're facing the consequences. If only you had over a year to listen to what this guy was running on, and research why his tariff policy would be a disaster if implemented. Oh wait, you did! So remember, any financial hardship you face as a consequence of Trump's tariff policy, you happily voted for in November. I've just fucking had it with how uninformed our electorate is in this country. And this isn't even complex economics either. It should be common knowledge that tariffs are oftentimes passed on to the consumer. I guess the one silver lining to all of this, and this is still depressing in itself, but when prices are fucked with, that's when people react. Because this is not just a small inconvenience most people can write off that only affects a small sector of people, but instead everyone is hurting right now, and when people are personally inconvenienced, that's when they finally give a fuck what is going on in politics. They observe that the stock market is plunging because we have an erratic idiot in the White House saying he'll impose tariffs and then going back on what he says and then saying he'll impose tariffs again, and that leads to uncertainty in the market, which results in the Dow taking as much of a sharp decline as it has. And regular people who aren't aren't so in tune into politics observe this and are like, oh shit, prices are going up, the stock market is tanking. This doesn't look good for me, someone who already can barely fucking afford their groceries. And that's when they realize a second Trump term wouldn't just hurt groups of people they have never interacted with once in their lives, but it also hurts them as well. Because again, apathy is a plague in this country. But America is so back. America is finally great again. Yes, I can just feel the greatness course through my veins when I see all of those negative stock percentages. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Bye-bye.